Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day. My name is Ummi Syakira Binti Muhammad Suleh and my metric number is 264640. In this video, I would like to explain about the lesson theory and the case framework that related with the case harsh electrical, analyzing cost in search of profit. First of all, I would like to explain about the analysis that used in this case, which is Cvp Analysis. Cvp Analysis is stand for Cost Volume Profit Analysis. Cvp is the method to identify and recognize how many changes in variable and fixed costs that will affect the company's profit. In conjunction, most of the companies use this analysis to see how many units they need to sell in order to break even point or reach a certain minimum profit margin. It means that what number you need to be sold in order to cover the cost required to make the product. This analysis consists of three important elements that need to be used in order to make the calculation. The first one is cost, the second is sales volume, and the third is price. All of these elements are required in order to make the calculation for the break-even point and the contribution margin. So, this is the step of calculation of Cvp analysis. Firstly, company need to make the total feed cost of the manufactured products. Second, company need to determine the product selling price. In this case, Gupta was decided to sell the air cooler at price 2,500 Indian rupee and 3,000 Indian rupee for standard and Baleno model respectively to the retailer. The price for the customer is different from the retailer. Third, company need to make the calculation of variable cost per unit. The fourth, the important part, which is the company need to calculate the unit contribution margin and also the contribution margin ratio. The last step, which is the fifth step, is the complete the Cvp analysis to know the unit that need to be sold in order to break even point. So, this is the part of the explanation of the lesson theory that I use in this case. I'm using two types of the lesson theory for case harsh electrical, which is the first one is the cost theory and the second is the production theory. Okay, cost theory was looking into the concept of cost, short run total and average cost, and long run cost. The determination of the cost should concern the various factors such as the operation scale, output size, price of production, and others. This theory needs to understand deeply by the company in order to run the company and increase the profit and productivity, because the cost of business are highly determine the supply and spending of the manufacturing. This theory teaches us to understand more about the cost involved in the company and during the manufacturing process and evaluate the cost. The costs that underlie in this theory are: the first one is accounting cost. Accounting cost is the cost of production, including the employee salaries, raw material costs, rent expense, and all the payment that made to the suppliers. The second is economic cost. It was the amount that could have been earned but not paid to an entrepreneur and monetary rewards. The third cost is outlay cost. This is the cost that recorded account costs or actual expenditure spent on wage, rent, raw material, and more. The fourth cost is opportunity cost. This cost were the cost of sacrifice or rejected the policy for the better one. The fifth is direct or traceable cost. These costs are prices that can be directly tied to the production of specific goods or service. The examples such as the direct labor, commission, and manufacturing supplies. Sixth is indirect or non-traceable costs. These costs are not related directly or identifiable to any operation or service. The costs such as electrical power or water supply are some examples because these expense vary with the output. They generally have a functional relationship with the production. Seven is feed cost. Feed cost is something that do not vary with the output and are fixed expenditure of the company. It is mean that if the company produce the high quantity, the amount of the cost is still same. The example is such as the taxes, rent, and interest. The last cost that should know is variable cost. These costs are vary with the output. The amount of cost that need to be used are according to the total quantity used. For example, it's like salaries of employee and raw material costs. Referring to the case, Gupta should know the type of the cost and their categories before make the analysis and calculation to find the minimum unit to sell. The second is production theory. This theory is explaining the principle on how the business company should decide the number of each commodity that should sell and how much it will produce. It also including how much of each kind of labor, raw material, and fixed capital good that need to be used. This theory are using the two assumptions in order to make the analysis. The first one is the manager want to produce the quantity of the output that will maximize the profit. The second assumption is they can increase production or output by using more input, and that increased output mean increase the profit. So, this is the explanation of the analysis and also the lesson theory that I use in the case of Harsh Electrical, analyzing cost in search of profit. Before I end this video, I want to highlight back the analysis that I use, which is the Cvp analysis, and the theory that I use is the cost theory and production theory. That's all from me. Thank you for watching.